Hi guys, welcome to another short Blender tutorial tip, and we're going to be looking today at how to use the fluid dynamics and fluid simulator here in Blender. So we're going to have a ball that's going to bounce on some water and create some splashes. This isn't going to be a final, fully rendered, finished tutorial. It's just an introduction, briefly overviewing the physics of how to set up the fluid simulator. So we'll start with this cube object. I'm going to scale this up, and let's go to a front view. I'm going to switch over into edit mode, and I'm going to go to wireframe. I'm going to drag this up on the Z-axis to around here. Okay, come back into object mode, and still here in wireframe. Alt and D to duplicate. Scale the duplicate on the Z-axis. Scale it on the X-axis just a little bit. And on the Y-axis, again, just go a little bit, and then we'll drag it up. So it sits inside of our box here. Now we've done that, we will create our object, which is going to bounce. So this is going to be our ball. So sphere object, we'll scale it down a little bit. We'll start off with it up here. Let's go to a right side view and drag it back a little bit. Okay, I'm back to the front. Okay, so this ball is going to come down, it's going to bounce on the surface there. So we'll turn on keyframe animations. We'll give it a starting frame. Come forward then, around frame 35 maybe. We'll drag this down and across, so it's come in and landed there. So now if we were to play this animation, there's our ball coming in and landing. Now we've done that, I want this to bounce a little bit on the water. So we can do that by opening up another window here. Go to our graph editor. We're going to select, first of all, B for box select. Let's select all of these, hit V and vector. Now we're going to select these two points, hit N, and we're going to change it to bounce. So now if we play this, the ball should bounce when it hits the surface there. Okay, so we're good with that. We can close up our graph editor. One last thing I want to do then is add a little bit of random rotation to this. So we'll just hit R to rotate. We'll rotate this around a bit. Go back here again, rotate over here. We'll just add in some various rotations. Okay, so we'll come out now into solid view. We'll stay in our wireframe view, and we should now be able to see the ball kind of coming in, bouncing and rolling around a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to alter this keyframe position here. Okay, that's good enough. I don't want to get too hooked up into the animation. Like I said, this is just really an introduction to the fluid tools. So let's crack on with that. So now we're done there. We're going to select our box here. Modifiers. We'll add a fluid simulation to this, and we're going to change the type to domain. In our fluid world, we're going to change this to the real world size. Let's say is 1 meter, so every unit on here is going to be 1 meter. Fluid presets, say water. Our fluid boundaries, smoothing, we'll make 0.3. We'll increase the number of subdivisions to 3 also. Add a little bit. Partial slip will be no slip. Okay, so we're good with that. Now we'll select our other object here, and again we're going to add a fluid simulation to it. But this one will be our fluid. This will be our surface. Nothing we need to do to that. Finally, we select our object there, add a modifier, fluid simulation. This one will be our obstacle. So this is what's going to be colliding with the surface. I'm going to set this to 0.8. Okay, so now we're pretty much ready to bake this animations, which is basically we'll run the simulation, save it to permanent memory, and then you're going to be able to go to a specific frame and we'll be able to render that frame out. Or you could render out the whole animation if you wanted. So we'll select our boundary object here and we hit bake. You see up here it says fluid simulation has started. Oh, one other thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this animation a little bit shorter. We don't need it so long. We'll drag that down to there. Okay, let's start again. So we'll hit bake. So the fluid simulation is going to start. This will take a few minutes to run. So I'm just going to pause the video and we'll be back in a few moments when this has finished its simulation. So the simulation is finished running. Now we can actually move this object out of the way. We don't need that anymore. And if we play this, you will see we have our fluid there moving around as our ball hits the surface. Now, obviously it doesn't look quite perfect because we haven't spent a lot of time on the animation and everything. You may want to play around with the settings a little bit, but this gives you a brief introduction as to how the fluid simulators work, how you set them up, and how you can make an object collide with a fluid and have this realistic looking movement of the fluid there. So now there's various things you can do to improve the look of this. You could say add a subsurf modifier to make everything smoother, to increase the number of subdivisions, and it'll make the liquid smoother. See, it slows down the animation a little bit. It's got a little bit more work to do because there's more surfaces to render, but makes things a little bit more realistic. So yeah, now it's been baked, you can actually apply these various modifiers to the fluid itself. So I hope that you found this useful. And like I said, it's just a very brief introduction. You'll have to play around with it more yourself. Maybe later on I will do a more in-depth tutorial on how to do more work with the fluids, maybe make liquid running over a surface, things like that. So I'll do some more tutorials on this. This just scratches the surface and gives you a very basic introduction as to how you can use the fluid simulator, how to set it up for a very basic impact or collision of an object with a liquid.